Arsenal. Now, Arsenal had a very strange season. Now, Arsenal's season peaked towards the end. They did very well. Arteta, watching them play, he has a vision. It's front to back to front. You press from the front, from the back, you play out. We know what he wants to do. He's a Guardiola disciple. I think he's got a lot of potential. The key to his future is two things, which we'll come on to next. The first is Aubameyang's future, and the second part is investment later down the line. Now, going back to Aubameyang's future, do you think he would have seen enough at Arsenal to stay and sign a new contract? Or do you think, you know what, if that big move does come about to a Barca or Real Madrid, you should just take it with both hands?
Yeah. I mean, I think with Aubameyang, it is undeniable that he has world-class ability. And if not world-class ability, he's a world-class goal scorer. And so any club out there, any club that would be looking to replace a striker or even a left winger, they could look at Aubameyang. I think the problem with Aubameyang and his predicament in terms of whether or not to sign a new contract, leave the financials aside, is that if we take the top clubs in world football, i.e. anyone that's worth him leaving a club like Arsenal for, if we take any of those clubs, they will more than likely have a policy in place to sign youth and develop them into world-class potential.
Good.
Just because, and this is the way that football is moving. Aubameyang has passed his 30th birthday, I believe.
I believe so.
And you would have to anticipate that one of his star traits is his pace, and that is going to start to decline very soon. And when that happens, you would anticipate his numbers falling off a cliff. That being said, he has been consistently, not just for Arsenal, but for every club he's played for, consistently one of the best players in the world. And so that type of player should not be missing out on European football. He needs to leave Arsenal, and there is no doubt about it. But I don't know if he's got anywhere to go.
Elaborate, Becky. What are we saying?
The question that you asked, Spooner, was, has he seen enough to, I'm assuming, convince him that he's going to be part of a project? And the answer to that is, in my opinion, no. No, he hasn't. Obviously, you mentioned, Arteta's sort of, done very well with Arsenal, or they sort of had a good end of the season. They finished 8th, I believe, was it?
Yeah.
Which is shocking, really, for a club the size of Arsenal. When you look at the teams that finished above them, namely Wolves and some of the teams around them on similar points like Burnley and Sheffield United. It's not good enough. Yes, there's been some slight improvements under Arteta. Yeah. There's been games where I thought that they did very well. Obviously, they beat City and they beat Liverpool in the same week, but then they did the most Arsenal thing and they lost to Aston Villa. So I don't think they've really made that much progress. And for as decent of a manager I think Arteta is, I think there's too much to do and there's not enough time. And will he get that time? And the thing is, Aubameyang, we said he's past his 30th birthday. And he deserves more. And you say, where can he go? Well, he could possibly take the Benzema slot to Real Madrid for a couple of years. There are clubs that he could go to and enjoy some success while he's still towards the top of his game. Can Arsenal keep him? It would be very tricky. I think they would have to offload Ozil because of his wages if they're going to give him a new contract, because you can't afford the both of them on that sort of money. Because I think he's going to take a lot of money to keep him. So I don't think he would have seen enough. And the way modern day football is, I think he and probably his agent will be whispering in his ear that this is probably your final big move, and you've got to take it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I look at Aubameyang and I think to myself, there's a lad that could easily go up a level. We know he could. He's a fantastic football player. But the vibe I'm getting from him is that he's going to stay. And I think for a lot of the reasons you've mentioned, I think number one, he's over the age of 30. I don't think there's going to be a lot of clubs that will be beating the door down to give him 250 grand a week. that Arsenal potentially could give him. Number two, I think he's very settled in London. I saw him on MTV Cribs. He seemed very happy. He's never once said a bad word about London. He gets on with all his teammates. And unlike influences in that dressing room, like a Guendouzi and an Ozil and people like that, no one's ever said a bad word about him. They've never come out and said, you know what, throughout all the bullshit that Arsenal have been through, Aubameyang has been a negative influence. He's always been seen as a leader. He's always been positive. He's always given his best. He's always scored goals. I think he's quite happy at Arsenal.
Yeah,
I think he would have seen enough to stay.
I think he's. I think you're right. I think he's a good egg. I think he's a very good player. I think the problem is that who in world football, if Arsenal are going to assign a price tag on Aubameyang, you're saying, okay, yeah, we'll allow you to leave. Your price tag is 100 million. That's what you're worth to us, and that's being kind because of your age. But if you're worth 20 goals a season to us, then you're worth 100 million. If we're trying to get into the Champions League, which is where they want to go, and they want to push for titles eventually, that's how much you're worth to us, because we're going to need 100 million pounds to replace you. Who in their right mind is paying 100 million pounds for someone past their 30th birthday? That's not Cristiano Ronaldo.
Would I not be right in saying, though, that his contract is coming close to an end, so he wouldn't be worth it? Am
I right in thinking that? There's a year left in his contract, or am I mistaken?
So I think due to what's left on his contract, I don't think that he would go for somewhere towards that price there because of how long is left. Do you not think something like a Madrid Spooner would pay 250 grand a week for him?
I think
they were going to get guaranteed goals. I mean, they bought Ruud van Nistelrooy towards the end of his late years.
They would, I think, but
he's an asset. But I think Madrid, the issue they have is, in order to accommodate an Aubameyang, you have to get rid of a James Rodriguez. You have to get rid of a Gareth Bale first, and that's tricky. I could see Aubameyang joining a top club if he leaves Arsenal on a free, at which point that top club only have to give him basically a massive signing on fee, call it £10 million, and they say we'll give you a decent wage. So if he leaves Arsenal on a free, I could see him joining a big club then, but I can't see a big club paying a transfer and wages for him.
I think if we're entertaining the option of him leaving, and we're excluding price tag and we're just talking about wages, the club that screams out to me would be Barcelona. I don't think Real Madrid would sign him, just because Real Madrid are going through a transfer policy at the moment where they are signing young players from countries like Brazil, and they're trying to develop them. I mean, they're going to give Hazard another season, I think, or two, to try and prove he's that transfer is going to work. They spent over £100 million on him last summer. They also have a midfield where they need to invest money into because it's aging. Modric and Kroos aren't getting any younger. They have Gareth Bale, who's on astronomical wages, and we just don't know whether they'll be able to offload him. He seems quite content to sit on the bench and pick up nearly $500,000 a week. And I just don't think he fits in with their transfer policy at all. I think they've got Benzema, who's doing a job, not as good a job as Aubameyang done, but they have just won the league title with him. So whether they'll want to go down that line next year, I'm not sure. I mean, you look at the players that they've got Rodrigo, and Vinicius Junior. Now, whether they want to add Aubameyang to the mix, I would be doubtful. You look at clubs like Juventus, their stock, they don't need any strikers. PSG, their stock, they don't need any strikers. Lewandowski's doing a great job for Munich. You could talk about a potential door opening in Dortmund, but they've got Haaland now. So you do look at Barcelona as the place for Aubameyang if he was going to go anywhere. Suarez isn't getting any younger. His numbers are starting to fall off a cliff now, as would be expected with a striker of his age. His yard of pace is gone. And Aubameyang really fits in with the Henry mould. And we know that Barcelona went shopping back in the day for Henry. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it at all, especially with their attacking options or their transfers that they brought in not having quite worked and having the purse strings now due to these Arteta sale.
Yeah, it's the Barcelona one is interesting only because, again, the same situation really applies. You have to get rid of Dembele. You have to get rid of Coutinho. All of a sudden, what do you do with Griezmann? And then what happens with Ansu Fati? Does he look at that and go, well, all of a sudden I'm a regular and now I'm not playing? I just think it's easier all round if Aubameyang either agrees a contract with Arsenal and stays for the next few years, or he just leaves on a free next summer. If it is only 1 year that he's got left and he says, you know what, I'll just go on a free, I'll take my pick and just go from there.